Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at the new version of the classic Destiny 1 sniper rifle, Praedyth's Revenge. I'm going to be going over a few different roles of this weapon, both for PvE as well as PvP, and comparing it to other top snipers in both modes. Before I begin, if you liked the video, a like and subscribe is always appreciated. And if you ever want to see me live streaming, my Twitch channel is linked in the description as always, and we've got a lot of cover as well as some math, so let's go ahead and get started. Starting with how to get this weapon, this sniper only drops from the Vault of Glass raid. It is specifically dropping from both the Oracle's encounter and the Atheon encounter. Once you've gotten it once, the hidden chests will then have a chance to drop Praedyth's Revenge, as well as the rifle becoming available for purchase from the final chest of Vault of Glass for 20 spoils of conquest per roll. Starting with the basic stats, Praedyth's Revenge is a kinetic rapid-fire frame sniper rifle. This gives it a fire rate of 140 rounds per minute, and the intrinsic bonus that reloading when the magazine is empty will have a slightly faster reload. It has a base magazine size of 6, but either extended or tactical mag can increase that to this weapon's maximum possible magazine size, which is 7. For my PvP players out there, I would like to note that this rifle has a really high aim assist stat at 78, and its scope, despite looking the same as the ambush scope from Revoker, actually has a zoom of 49, more similar to something like Cloud Strike or Frozen Orbit scope. Let's start with PvE. This sniper has some pretty good DPS potential due to the Vault of Glass's new Origin perk, Rewind Rounds. There are two roles that I'd like to highlight here, both using this perk. The one I've seen a lot of discussion over is the role that has either extended or tactical mag, as well as rewind rounds and high impact reserves. I haven't actually landed this role yet, but a few of my friends have, and we were able to test it for this video. This role can put out some good numbers because of just how many shots it can put out before you have to reload. For anyone that isn't familiar with rewind rounds, it makes it so that when you run out of ammo in your magazine, your gun will reload from reserves based on the number of hits that you landed. Body shots do count, and you'll always receive half of your hits as a reload, rounding up. This is why the magazine perk here is important, since you will actually lose a few extra shots without either extended or tactical mag. With one of these traits, you'll start with 7 shots in the magazine, and after hitting those 7, you'll get 4 back from your first rewind, 2 from the second one, and 1 back from the third one before you have to reload by hand, for a total of 14 shots. If we look now at high impact reserves, one important thing to note is that this perk got a buff at the start of Season 14. It now activates as soon as the condition of a half-full magazine is met, while it used to only activate once both the condition was met and 1 shot was fired. Basically, this buff gives you 1 extra shot of high impact reserves, which with rewind rounds results in a total of 4 extra high impact reserve shots. High impact reserves itself will buff the damage of the bottom 50% of the mag from between 12.1% to 25.6%, depending on exactly how many bullets you have left. Here's where I'm going to start doing the math to figure out exactly how much damage this thing can put out. With no mods equipped and tested against the Veil's Labyrinth Lost Sector boss, this sniper's first 4 shots, which I will call bullets 7 to 4, will deal 15,165 damage. Bullet 3 will do 17,852, and bullets 2 and 1 will deal 19,067 damage each. This results in a total damage of 116,646 for the first 7 shots in your mag. However, when you factor in rewind rounds, we'll get to fire bullet 4 1 extra time, bullet 3 1 extra time, and bullets 2 and 1 for a total of 5 extra times. The result is a total of 244,998 total damage before reloading. If we divide our 100 rounds per minute fire rate by 60 to get rounds per second, we'll get a result of 2.3 repeating, and if we look at the total amount of time it takes to fire off 14 shots, we'll get a time of 6.08 seconds. From there, I divided our overall damage of 24,498 by our overall time of 6.08 seconds, and we get a DPS value of 40,295. Two important things to note. First, this DPS value, while very impressive, is lopsided. Our DPS is ramping up towards the back end, and since each shot we fire once we're taking advantage of rewind rounds at high impact is going to be doing more damage than our first 4. The second thing to remember is that rewind rounds is not actually refunding these shots, but it is reloading them from our reserves. So we're not gaining some insane amount of ammo, although the DPS is still very high. However, by putting these shots in the back of the mag without having to fire the first 4 again to activate high impact reserves, the combo of rewind rounds and high impact is increasing the overall amount of damage that you'll be able to put out from a full reserve stack of sniper ammo. But if we turn now to the other role that has rewind rounds and frenzy, there's going to be much less math involved because we don't have to worry about the specific bullets of high impact reserves. Frenzy, as of Season 14, grants you a 15% damage increase, as well as roughly 50 handling and reload speed, only after you've been in combat for 12 seconds. This can be activated while the weapon is stowed, and it will deactivate after you don't take or deal damage for 5 seconds. I found that keeping it activated was actually surprisingly easy, and that's really the only reason I'm showcasing this role, since again, literally any combat can keep it activated. Primary weapon, heavy weapon, super, the gun doesn't even need to have frenzy on it. Certain things can and can't keep you in combat, however. As for some common rumors about what counts as combat, I tested a few, and I found that damaging yourself with your own grenade would keep you in combat, but the old glitch of shooting your teammates to keep frenzy on no longer works, and damaging yourself with ricochet rounds will not count as you being in combat. However, the most important thing here is that damaging an immune target will actually keep you in combat and will prevent frenzy from falling off. As I show here with this clip of me using Witherhoard against Shirochi, I stay behind the barrier, not fighting anything, for well beyond the frenzy timer, and it never falls off. This is why I think it is really good against raid bosses, because before damage phase, you can fire off a couple shots with your Anarchy, you'll have frenzy going into damage, and then obviously during damage phase, you're in combat and you don't have to worry about keeping it stacked. That is why I think it is not as hard to keep these activated as you might think at first. However, for damage, each shot with frenzy activated will deal 17,440 damage against our Night boss in the Lost Sector. And if we have rewind rounds, we will then get a total damage output of 244,160 with a DPS value of 40,157. Keep in mind the amount of time it takes to empty the number of bullets, and all of that is the same as the original roll because the only thing that changed is that we swapped high impact for frenzy. These values are only 0.3% less than the high impact roll, but there are a couple things that you need to keep in mind with these numbers. First, assuming that you can keep frenzy active going into your damage phase, it will be consistent damage, not lopsided like high impact reserves. This basically means that every shot is equal, and missing one, while obviously not good, is not going to potentially put your entire DPS phase in jeopardy. It also will have higher damage up front, seeing as the first 4 shots from the high impact roll are significantly weaker than the first 4 shots from our frenzy roll. Keep in mind, however, that the total damage and damage per second for both of these rolls that I gave you in this video so far were calculated without looking at our reload speed. For high impact, after our first magazine is fired, our reload speed is going to be a bit slower compared to frenzy, especially if our Praedyth has extended mag, which both rolls tested for this video did. This caused the damage for the high impact roll to fall off significantly harder than frenzy after one magazine, since frenzy also gives a reload bonus, and you don't have to bother with sniper loaders or lunafaction boots to get this. Not to mention that both of those buffs will stack with sniper loaders and lunafaction boots. Frenzy also has the handling advantage, making swapping to and from something like Anarchy quicker, although this is a much more minor bonus than the reload difference. As for which Praedyths I like more, I think they're relatively equal, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. I already have one with Rewind and Frenzy, and I'm definitely going to keep chasing the one with Rewind and High Impact, but I'd say to go for the Frenzy roll if you think you can keep it stacked consistently, and the High Impact roll if you'd rather not have to micromanage the perk. But now that we've looked at the different roles for PvE Praedyth's Revenge, I would like to compare it to a couple snipers that will serve as its main competition for PvE damage. I didn't look at any exotics for this, since those tend to be a little different. And first, we have the Deepstone Crypt Sniper Rifle Succession, which can roll with Reconstruction and Vorpal Weapon. This roll deals 28,305 damage per shot to our Lost Sector boss, and has an 8-round magazine when reconstruction is fully stacked. It takes 6.67 seconds to fire all 8 shots, dealing a total of 226,440 damage, with a total of 33,949 damage per second. Succession has better burst damage per shot, but lower total damage and lower damage per second than the Praedyth's Revenge. You could try using a Succession with Reconstruction and Recombination, another Deepstone Crypt exclusive perk, for even better burst damage, but I'm not really sure exactly which one I'd prefer here. I think they're both really solid, and a 72 round per minute sniper is definitely going to be used for something a little different than a 140 RPM. However, if we look at another 140 RPM that usually gets used for DPS, we have the Aikelo Sniper from the Season of Arrivals. The Aikelo Sniper with 4 times the charm and high impact reserves has long been considered the benchmark for 140 RPM sniper DPS. However, I think that Praedyth has definitively dethroned it for damage per second, but not necessarily for overall damage, if we look at the numbers. The Aikelo Sniper will get 11 shots if you land every crit, if you have 4 times the charm. Its first 4 shots, I'm assuming you have high impact reserves, will deal 14,443 damage to our Lost Sector practice target, and bullet 3 will deal 17,002, while bullets 1 and 2 will deal 18,159 damage each. 4th times the charm will give you 2 extra shots of bullets 5 and 4, an extra shot of bullet 3, and an extra shot of bullet 2. This gives the mag a total damage of 179,139 with 37,105 DPS. Praedyth absolutely mops the floor with Aikelos for PvE DPS, although the total damage of a full reserve of Aikelos is higher than Praedyth's, mainly due to the fact that both triple tap and 4th times the charm, which both roll on Aikelos, will pull ammo from thin air rather than from your reserves like rewind rounds does, making you able to carry around more ammo than you would otherwise. As a result, pick Praedyths for shorter DPS phases and Aikelos for longer ones. The free ammo will make the total overall damage of one reserve stack much higher than with rewind rounds. For PvP, Praedyth isn't really half bad. It's a 140, so it can deal 91 damage to the body and 293 to the head, as mentioned earlier. It can also almost reach 100 aim assist with a base of 78 and an additional 20 on your first shot from opening shot and an extra 5 from a targeting adjuster mod. This sniper can practically aim itself, similar to the old Alone as a God if anyone remembers that one. However, that would be the case if it weren't for the slight issue of its zoom. It has a 49 zoom, which isn't great, but isn't the worst. It's a really good laning weapon, but it's not as good at quick shots as you'd think, unlike Alone as a God. If you can land shots with Cloud Strike, Praedyth's Revenge is definitely a legendary sniper for you, since its zoom is so similar to other snipers, like Cloud Strike, like Frozen Orbit. If you like these snipers, you'll be able to use Praedyths, really good rolls. But I feel like some other lower zoom snipers like the Eye of Soul could feel a good bit better to use for people that like to have their quick, snappy snipers, but Praedyths, top tier for laning, in my opinion. As a whole, I think that Praedyth's Revenge is a fantastic sniper rifle for both PvE and PvP. I don't really like using higher zoom snipers for PvP, outside of modes like Trials and Survival where I can lane with them. But it definitely feels good to use even outside of those modes. The DPS on this weapon is truly insane and is exactly where it shines, having 2 spectacular second column DPS options, as well as a unique first column perk with rewind rounds. If you can get your hands on a good roll of this sniper, then by all means, add it to your arsenal. However, that's all I have for this video, so if you liked it, remember to drop a thumbs up and subscribe for more, hit the bell icon for notifications whenever I upload a new video, as well as drop a comment with your thoughts on Praedyth's Revenge, and check out my Twitch channel in the description down below if you're interested in seeing where I stream Destiny 2 pretty often, and as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.